Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name's Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I have Michael Morey on the line, and he's president and CEO of Bluebird Network. Michael, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Adam. Thank you for having me.
All right, Michael. So I'm really excited to get into Bluebird Network and really talk about the rise in dominance in your region and really the growth. I mean, it's a wonderful success story, and I'm excited to bring that to my audience. And before we get into that, we'll start this with our Mission Matters Minute, the way we start all our shows. So, Michael, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission. Michael, what mission matters to you?
So our mission is to empower organizations through their digital journey and enrich the lives of the communities we serve. That's actually our mission statement. If you go to our website, you'll see that. But we do that in 4 ways. We do that by providing fiber connectivity throughout the Midwest. We also provide fiber connectivity to the cloud service providers out there in the world. We also do that by providing data centers. We have 2 of them, one in Springfield, Missouri, one in the Quad Cities area of Illinois and Iowa, that connect to our fiber networks. And we also provide internet access across those networks. So that's how we do it. But I think an important subset of our mission and what the products are that we do is how we go about that. And we have a set of 5 key values that we really like to follow. We actually have them printed and we put them on every desk of every employee. They're out on our website.
That's awesome.
And it's important to have a set of values as a company, in my opinion. One is adaptability. We embrace and drive change to create unique solutions. So we're not necessarily just doing it the way everybody else does it. We're accountable. We own our actions, our mistakes, and we solve problems. We collaborate. We build better when we work together with our customers, with our employees. We have integrity. We aim to perform at the highest standards in every situation. And last but not least, our 5th value is to wow our customers. Think about the customer in everything we do. So how's that for your Mission Matters question, Adam?
I love it. And I love bringing mission-based entrepreneurs and executives on the line. And I love that you have it printed out. You got to hold that up for me.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, every place you go in Bluebird, it's on everything. We talk about it all the time. We really, our company embodies these values, and they mean something to our customers.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to the other co-founder over here, Shirag. Shirag, if you're watching this, why don't we have our values printed in everywhere else? We have them on the website. We have them other places, but I want some printouts, so I'm in. So, Michael, let's we'll talk in depth about Bluebird, and I'm excited to get into that story. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit more about really your background and how you got into telecom. Like, how'd you get on this journey?
Well, I always like to tell people that the way I got into telecom, and it seems obvious to me, was because I wanted to be a volcanologist. I wanted to be a scientist studying volcanoes. And somehow that ended up with me being the CEO of a fiber company. And it makes perfect sense to me how I did that, but I'll walk you through it because, there's a bunch of volcanoes exploding all over the world right now, and I love following them. But when I was in elementary school, I really was interested in being a volcanologist. And then I realized that when volcanoes erupted, they created earthquakes. And Adam, you got to stick with me on this.
I'm here.
Okay. They created earthquakes. And people have to build buildings so they don't fall down in earthquakes. So I wanted to be a seismologist, right? Then I wanted to be, a volcanologist. Then I wanted to be a seismologist to study earthquakes. But then I thought, I'm going to be an architect, so I'll build buildings that won't fall down. Okay. And then I decided, well, wait a minute. I actually have a degree. My bachelor's is in architecture from the University of Southern California. So I got a degree in architecture and realized when I started working in architecture that the people who were really making things happen were the developers that were coming in and asking the architects to build buildings. And I thought to myself, I really want to be the person that drives this stuff as opposed to doing it. So I decided I was going to be a developer, went and got my master's in business administration, and graduated in 1982, which gives you a little context of how old I am.
Yeah.
With my master's, and in 1982, interest rates were right through the roof. Nobody was building anything. Being a developer was absolutely the last thing you'd want to do. But something interesting was going on in 1982. On January 1st of 1983, the monopoly AT&T was going to go through divestiture. It was going to completely explode. They were going to pull it apart into the different parts. And that was actually the foundation of the communication world we have today, was that when AT&T was broken apart by the Justice Department, and AT&T decided they wanted to have a bunch of newfangled MBAs working for them. So since I couldn't be a developer, I decided to interview with everybody out there in the world. And I found that the most exciting thing that was going on in 1982 was the pending divestiture of AT&T. So I jumped in full on, and that is what got me to become a CEO. There's a few steps in between, but I think that's probably how I ended up to be a CEO here at Bluebird.
Wow, what a great story, and thinking about the timing, right? So how that sometimes plays out. So there's some people here watching this right now that they'll be a little bit earlier in their career. Maybe they're just graduating, maybe they're just getting started, and they're thinking about telecom or telecommunications like as an industry, for a place of like a long-term fruitful career like you've had. What kind of things would you tell the new crop of grads out there that may be watching this?
Well, so what I have a little bit of perspective, because I'm thinking to myself, let's see, that's about almost 40 years of perspective in telecommunications. And the one thing that I have noticed is that there's always something new coming along. Telecommunications is this field that just is developing and changing over time, and it's a dynamic environment. And so I kind of describe these new shifts in telecommunications as another boat leaving the dock. I mean, when I started back in 1982, the new thing, what back then was competitive telephone companies. And then there was this, and that made a huge shift to people building fiber. And then there was this thing, I didn't even know what it was. It was this thing called the internet. Okay. I don't know if anybody of your people out there know what the thing of the internet is, but I'm kind of like Al Gore. I was part of the beginning of the development of the internet, right?
Yeah.
But myself and a number of professionals really were, when this fiber that came together started to have people access, it became the internet. And then there was also this thing going on at that time called the cellular thing that was going on. These cell phones, and they weren't even flip phones back then. They were kind of like bricks. Yeah, they were bricks. And then they started becoming flip phones. And then we had the smartphones that came out. And now you're seeing things like we moved into the cloud is all of a sudden becoming a big deal. And now you're seeing things like AI, intelligence that that's kind of coming out. So each one of those different, I'll call them boats that left the dock, created a brand new group of entrepreneurs, a brand new group of people that had a huge impact in their industry. So my advice is watch for those boats as they're leaving the dock and get on them. I stayed at AT&T for 13 years. It was 5 years too long, because 8 years after I started was when the cellular industry took off. Okay. So I waited, and I should have left in AT&T and jumped on that cellular boat. But I did leave when they had the competitive telephone company boat, and I didn't realize it, but the internet boat was leaving too. But I got on that one. But watch these things as they go, and make sure that you don't get left back at the dock, right? And not part of the development of these new things. I know it's a long story to get to say that. Keep your antenna up, watch for what's going on, and get on those boats.
No, I think it's completely relevant though, and I can think about times in my career where I'm like, I probably stayed there a couple years, a little bit too long. Like even this whole internet or YouTube or streaming thing, even what we're doing right now, streaming live. Like I've recorded over 4,000 episodes. Why weren't we streaming those? Because I didn't that dock left or that boat left, and I wasn't like I didn't have my antenna up. I wasn't on point on all of that. So I love the advice, and I think it's just relevant for as fast as things are moving today.
I want to throw one other thing on there, though. I see a lot of people that are early in their career jumping too quick as well. Okay, I see people. What's next? And they just started a job, and they'll say something like, I'll talk to anybody about some great new job. Okay, when you move and shift jobs, it's got to be an important shift. People like me look at people's resumes. I won't touch somebody that jumps from job to job to job to job.
Yeah.
I won't touch them. What I want to see is thoughtfulness about what is that next thing and how does that next thing make a real difference in their career and in the industry, et cetera. So there's got to be meaningfulness in what you're doing when you're moving from job to job, not just, oh, it's the next best thing. Somebody called me, offered me a little bit more money. Because you want to know something? I'm figuring you're going to do the same thing to me. I'm looking for people who are going to commit to me. They're going to make a difference.
Well said, Michael. Let's change it up a bit. So I do want to go into Bluebird Network for my audience that's not familiar with it or doesn't have the service. Maybe start there. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Okay. Well, I already talked a little bit about our products. We talked about the four main things we do: the connectivity, the cloud connectivity, the data centers, and the internet access. But what platform do we do that on? We do that on a fiber platform in the Midwest United States. Okay. We are about a 10,500 mile network, and it is centered in Missouri, Illinois, and the 9 surrounding states. Go with me, Adam. I'm going to walk around, make sure everybody gets them. Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. I think I got all 11. But that is where we are. We're focused in that. And if we're a major player in that marketplace, not for residents, by the way.
Yes.
We are a business-focused and a carrier-focused business. So if you are in a medium or large business, you have a good chance that we would be a great solution for you. If you are a wireless carrier, or you are a government, or you are a hospital, we're probably one of the people that you're going to be talking to if you're serious about communications.
And so in that space, so as you mentioned, that enterprise level that you're working on, right? Not residential, but in that enterprise level that you're working on, what are some of the things that you feel separates you from the pack in terms of competitors?
Right. So first of all, we know that in telecommunications right now, speed is king. Okay. We have the most powerful network, both from an internet perspective as well as a fiber network in the Midwest. Right now, we deploy some customers at 400 gigabit speeds. That's unheard of in the industry. Go call your AT&T rep and see if they can get you a 400 gigabit connection between, say, St. Louis and Kansas City for your business. Those things are hard to come by. You can call us up. We could start working that order right now. We're building fiber, so we're not only we're fast from a building perspective as well. So fast with speed, but fast with build. Turning up a new fiber build in 90 days. Getting construction crews out, getting approvals for that. That's like moving, heaven and earth, and we get it done in 90 days. So we're fast, and we're also flexible. And we don't just, we don't just say, here's what we've got, and that's all there is. When you're buying 400 gigabit connections or 100 gigabit connections, you might have some special need that you have, and we'll adapt for you. And then the last key thing that I hear this time and time again, and it's not common in the communications industry, and that's that when we say we're going to do something, Adam, we do it.
Wow.
And our customers love it.
Are these some of the reasons why? I mean, because you've had tremendous growth since your tenure. What do you attribute some of that to? Are these some of the key ingredients that of course, on the other side, having great customers, that's a given. But like, what do you attribute some of that to?
Well, so there's a number of things that go into it. I mean, we've almost quadrupled in size since I've been here in about the last 10 years.
So stop there for a second. Quadrupled almost. In 10 years,
right?
any business or any business owner, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs out there watching this, executive heads of large companies, and to quadruple your company in 10 years is not in a what I would argue, and correct me if I'm wrong, is considered a little bit more of a slower pace moving thing when you're talking about the physical infrastructure of telecommunications. So to do that, I think it's just a tremendous feat.
Well, I appreciate that. And we live in a time that helps that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you asked me, well, why is that? Why have we quadrupled? Yes, we're a great company that meets our commitments and our customers love us.
Yeah.
So that keeps your churn down, your changes down, people moving from other places, which helps you to accelerate. That's a huge part of it. Okay. Yeah. Another huge part of it is having the financial resources and backing to be able to enable this. Building fiber is expensive. It costs hundreds of millions of dollars. And you got to have, you can't just, if somebody says that they want you to build something and it's going to cost you $25 million to get it built, you got to be able to just do it. You can't, this place is going too fast. Our customers need it too fast. So great financial backing and resources have been a real key to this. Originally, we had a group of telephone companies, over 20, actually across two of them, about 25 rural telephone companies that were backing our organization. And that was tremendous financial resources. And 2 years ago, we were purchased by Morey Infrastructure, Morey Asset Management, which is one of the largest owners of infrastructure in the world. And so we have never had any financial constraints. So you get the right kind of what you're, meeting your commitments, doing what you say you're going to do, having a great differentiation, have great financial background, and then doing it at the right time, Adam. Let me tell you something. Bandwidth demand has doubled over and over and over again in the last 10 years. Every time I turn around, we used to have, people were demanding what we used to call T1s, which are 1.5 megabits, just a little tiny thing. And that was big 10 years ago. 10 years ago, that was our main size. And then even as recently as 3 years ago, 1 gigabit was the main speed we were getting. And now most of our customers are looking for 10 gigabit. And like I said, we're talking 100 gigabit, 400 gigabit requests. So we have everything going for us in terms of how we run our business and how we're financed. But on top of that, we do have a wonderful market to be doing that in. So I think that probably explains why we've quadrupled in the last 10 years.
Tell me a little bit more about the, so you mentioned overall some of the company values and mission, but tell me a little bit more about your team and like how this is being pulled off. Because again, it's a big feat.
So first of all, the team is super important. When I talk about, the founding, I talk about our mission, I talk about our values, but I also like to talk about, that mission and values. They are held up by what I call a three-legged stool. Okay. One is our investors. We talked about that, financing it. Another is our customers, right? They love us. And the third leg of that stool is our employees. And if you don't have great employees, if you don't value your employees, if you don't make your customers feel valued, then they're going to leave and go someplace else. I know people right nowadays with COVID, they've been talking about, I've heard the term the Great Resignation.
Yeah.
Okay?
I hate that term, by the way. I hate it, but yes, I've
right?
heard it as well.
Right? I mean, people just saying, you know what? COVID's making me look at this differently. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm leaving. Okay. And why is it, in my opinion, why are people doing that? Is because they aren't finding value in what they're doing right now. Yeah. They don't know that they don't feel like their company is valuing them. And so that is one of the key things that Bluebird does here. We like to think of all of our employees as family. We like to have their back. We like them to have our back. And we act in every way in all the things that we do, we act in a way that tries to reinforce for those employees that they are valued, that they're important, but not just them, but their family's important. I have the number of times I've said to somebody when they've called me and said, Michael, this is going on with me and my family, and I need to do something, for my family. And I'll say to them, I said, well, let me tell you something. The one way to get in trouble with me is if you don't take care of your family.
Yeah.
Okay? That when you need to take care of your family, Bluebird's going to be here to support you. And that's one part of it. But also, you need to feel that when you do something great, that we recognize and value that too. So we reinforce folks that are doing great things. And so I think this is a good place to work. And I think that's one of the main reasons why Bluebird has been so successful.
So what are some of the goals going forward? And I don't mean revenue. I don't mean things like that. I mean, like, what's the big vision going forward for Bluebird in the future?
Yeah. So what we really want to be is we want to be recognized as the key alternative to the big guys like the AT&Ts of the world, right? For communications in the Midwest. That's if you think about it, the term it would be a regional super carrier.
Yeah.
Okay. So I right now, if you've asked most people, in out in the marketplace, who's Bluebird, they'd think, oh, isn't that a bus company, right? But because we don't market to residential folks, we don't market to small businesses, but in the people who are the buyers in our industry, the enterprise buyers, the government buyers, the hospitals, the schools, the universities, I want them to think when they think about buying communications, they think about, I'm in the Midwest. If I'm not looking at Bluebird, I'm not doing my job. They may not choose us, but I definitely want them to look at us. And so that's our goal, is to be that. And I think it's achievable in the next 5 to 10 years in the Midwest.
So having the the vantage point that you do, and again, 40 years career spanning in telecom, and now competing against who got you in the industry, right? The original AT&T breakup. So
they're a big buyer of ours too, right? So I mean, but go ahead, answer.
So having all of that under your belt, like I would argue you have a very unique vantage point based on your tenure and some of your experiences. What excites you right now? Like, what is that thing that you go to bed, you wake up, other than of course the company? I mean like in the industry of telecom, like what excites you?
Well, so I get asked this question a lot, by the way. What gets me up every day? Come to work. I got to tell you, what excites me is seeing other people in the industry find success. Okay. I've kind of done most everything. I'm good. Okay. I love to see other people succeed. I just love it. It's fun. I have 3 children of my own. I love watching them, but I love, somebody who's, new in the industry or been in the industry for a while, and watching them figure things out and seeing, if I can help them out and help them in their career. And they don't need to be working for Bluebird. I mean, I just find it exciting to see other people succeed and see the joy that they experience as they succeed. I mean, I went through all that. I really don't have these kind of, I need to go do and be this or accomplish that, right? I want to make sure that certainly my customers are happy, my employees are happy, my investors are happy, because those are commitments I have. But in terms of what gives me joy, it's that seeing people around me succeed and experience the joy that I experienced throughout my career as I went through all these things.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I see it. And it must be fun to see that, especially in the current role that you're at, and like with the growth of the company. It must be fun to see the newbies and have the back in my day stories, right?
Oh God, I got too many of those. They start rolling their eyes when I say back when I was at, and just fill in one of the companies. But I do have a lot of those.
That's amazing. So Michael, so what's next? I mean, what's next for you? What's next for Bluebird?
Well, so what's next for Bluebird is we continue to grow. We continue to create that unique network in the Midwest. We aren't, we aren't really trying to be something different. Okay.
Yeah.
What's next is more of the same, just more of the same, right?
Yeah.
So I think if you're an employee or a customer or a potential investor, and you're looking at this, you're not looking at a company that's trying to go jump to Europe or go down to Mexico or to start doing something new. We're going to start building electric cars or something like that. What you can look to is more of the same, consistency. I know it's boring. Consistency and the same is boring, but let me tell you something. It's awesome for investors. It's awesome for employees, and it's also awesome for customers.
Oh my gosh, I love your answer. And I have that conversation with my team all the time. I'm like, well, now what do? We execute. That's what we do.
That's right.
We
That's
execute,
exactly
we
correct.
keep
That's
doing it.
exactly
Our
correct.
clients are happy, our audience is happy. We execute and we keep doing more of the same, but more of the same. I didn't have those words. You just gave me those. They're going to be mad and they're going to be like, why do you keep saying that? I'm be like, Michael at Bluebird told me. He taught me that one. You didn't watch that episode. So they're going to know you around here pretty soon. Well, this has been great, Michael. I really appreciate you coming on the show. And I'm from the Midwest, and I love bringing these. I'm from Michigan, so I love bringing these stories of triumph and bringing and showcasing the Midwest and what's going on, because I feel like we don't always get as much media as I think we deserve out there. So I'm pumped to tell the story about the growth, what you see, how the vision you see going forward as becoming a regional super carrier and a dominant player in the market, even more so than you currently are. So I think it's amazing, providing jobs, providing opportunity, providing upward growth, like all those things that you're doing. It's just a testament. And this is just really the type of stories we like to share. So I really do thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And to the audience, as always, haven't forgot about you. If this is your first time tuning in or listening, if you're on one of our podcasts or if you're watching on YouTube, wherever you're at, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have many more mission-based entrepreneurs, executives, and experts coming up for you, and we don't want you to miss a thing. So make sure you subscribe. And Michael, again, it really has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam. Have a great day.